For over 2 years, Fantail Studios has been on an incredible journey filming Lucky Te Koha and the Kingdom Brotherhood team as they share the radical healing power of Jesus Christ with the Mongrel Mob Kingdom and the Whakatane Black Power MGs. As this feature film, Mana Atua, meaning the greatness of God, nears completion, we're believing this will be a movie that not only showcases how relentless and unconditional God's love is, but this will also give viewers the opportunity to look beyond the gang patch and see the hearts of the individuals behind them. As we eagerly anticipate the release of Mana Atua, we'd like to introduce some of the key individuals that we've had the pleasure of meeting along the way.
Today we continue our conversation with Ariki Paito, leader of the Mongrel Mob Kingdom, as he shares his heart for community and transformation. Oh, here we are again, Paito. Good to have you back with us, brother. Coming to share some more of your heart. Bit of a recap of where we were last time was just sharing your heart for the community, for the brothers, the people you're discipling, your mission ahead. The first question was, are you going to be a mobster to the end?
Most probably.
Yep.
Unless I've been told otherwise.
Yeah, true. Awesome. Have you ever thought of leaving before?
Oh, believe you me, I'll be lying if I says I haven't thought about it. It's not easy work.
Yeah.
It tests the very core of your essence as a human being. You know, working in those dark places, you know. But like I says, otherwise, it's, if I don't work in those spaces and I don't contribute to society where I feel that somebody needs to work in that space, life will be like a smooth paved straight, flat road to nowhere, safe and comfortable, but dull and utterly pointless.
Yeah.
It's a waste of time.
Yeah, true.
With being a mobster now, what does being a mobster now look like to you, present day, compared to 20, 30 years ago? You know, how have you changed in your journey with God, and how has that changed who you are and what your life represents now?
Well, being a mobster back in the early days, when I was age 22, I was in the remand yard going up for murder. You know, so now where I am today, it's all about, trying to encourage, people who think going down that track is the way to go, to be somebody in life, especially in the gangster world. You know, the thing is, when I was young, I used to hear the patch members and they used to talk about prison. And and the impression that I got from listening to those conversations, that if you ever consider yourself as a warrior, that's where you go to prove it.
Yeah.
And I so much wanted to give it a go, but I thought to myself, I'll never get given that chance because I had a mother that was always keeping her finger on top of me. And then one day I was given the opportunity to go and do that. And so I went in there and did that. I went into the prison, did everything that I thought was expected of me, ended up in maximum security prison, 23-hour lockup, 1 hour out. And that is the trophy you get for being one of the most dangerous inmates that this country's ever produced. I didn't even know I was that until I was going up to the parole board. Every 3 months you would go in front of the parole board, and then they will assess your situation to see whether you go back for another 3 months or whether they'll give you an opportunity to go back down to the medium prison. And I'm sitting over there wondering, what am I doing here? It's mistaken identity. You know? And then I'm sitting there and they just looked at me and they says, Mr. Fatu, we know all about you. And right now, you will be seen as one of the most dangerous inmates in this country. So where you go? Go back to your dungeon and enjoy another day in paradise. That's what they used to say.
So what was the turning point?
Well, the turning point was when the seed was germinated.
Yeah.
The God loves you seed.
Absolutely. I was sitting in there and I'm looking at this. You know, I did 2 years there.
Mm.
You know, I'm sitting over there. Is this it? Is this Paito? All those discussions that you overheard the patch members talking about, that you go to the prison and you prove yourself as being the ultimate warrior, and then you go in there, next minute you're in here. And that's your trophy. And I thought to myself, I don't want anybody else thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Coming up here, being locked down, you know, get to, you know, who you see, who you can't see, what you can eat, what you can't eat, when you can go to the toilet, when you can wash.
Yeah.
I mean, who you can talk to, who you don't talk to.
Mm.
That was the trophy.
Mm.
So he says, now, what are you going to do? Are you going to encourage others to come up and keep you company? Because, you know, misery enjoys company. You know, or are you going to change it? And I said, no. I'm going to do everything I can to change it, to stay in the game.
Mm. So, being the ultimate warrior in prison was the old trophy. What do the new trophies look like? What are the new things that you fight for now?
That you still can maintain your toughness. You still can maintain your warrior prowess. You just got to be able to deliver it in a more productive and more constructive and more positive way, so it's more meaningful.
Mm. So the battlefield's changed? But
slightly.
Yeah.
Now, because for me it's a psychological warfare here now.
Mm.
More so than the physical.
Yeah.
Mm.
Would you, so with the amount of numbers that you have with you now, that are with the kingdom, do you have any in prison at the moment?
No.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah.
You know, we have a handful, to be honest.
Yeah.
You know, we're not, you know, at the end of the day, like it says, you know, it's rough out there.
Yeah.
The struggle's real.
It is real.
Absolutely. And like I said, some will take the risk and do something.
Yeah.
And I get it, you know, I do, I totally get it, you know, because, you know, desperate times bring out the desperate stuff in you.
Yeah.
Mm.
And you would do things that you never thought you would do.
Mm.
But if you got mouths to feed, and then you need to put an extra bread on the, you know, because I'm talking about, you know, simple things, you know, mean a lot to our people.
Mm.
So therefore, so what's the vision for the mob going forward then, for Kingdom Mob?
Well, you know, for the kingdom, it's all about trying to do the best we can to do what everybody else is doing out there, you know, but trying to do a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get our children, you know, to go to school, you know, do the best you can to get an education.
Mm.
But sometimes, you know, some kids and some students, you know, school doesn't do it for them. They can learn in another way, you know. That's just like me when I went to school, I got the big goose egg, got nothing. But I knew education was important.
Yeah.
So when I was stuck in the dungeon, so to speak, I decided to do everything I can to educate myself the best way I could, you know. And my grandfather, he wrote a book and he became a doctor back in Samoa. As he lost his parents in the Spanish influenza that came through Samoa. And so he lost his parents and he had nowhere to go but his uncle's place. And so his uncle didn't really have a room. So he made a little hut out there by the livestock. And he did his doctor's degree there.
Wow.
And he wrote in that book, and he said, in his own book, doesn't matter where you find yourself, you always do the best you can to try to be the best you can, and don't make excuses. Hey, get out there and do it. I'm not doing justice to the words he put there, but in a nutshell, you know. So when I was in that dungeon, I was thinking, well, here's your little hut. What are you going to do? So the penny dropped. It was time.
Helping shift people's mindset from being a victim mindset to an overcoming mindset, is that a big part of what you're doing? And what does that look like?
Well, you know, I say, this is how I put it. You know, it is easy to fix externals, then there's to change internals. It has to be transformed by the renewing of the mind. That transformation means you got to start feeding where you're going, not where you've been. Transformation starts on the inside, and the way you transform is by the renewing of the mind. The mind will become what it eats. If you watch something all the time, you'll become that. If you read something all the time, you become that. For example, if you read science books, it's highly likely to become a scientist. If you read militant books, it's highly likely to become a Navy, Army, Police, Corrections officer. So whatever you're feeding your mind will become whatever it's feeding. So if you're going to transform your mind, you have to change what you read, change who talks to you, change who hangs around you, and you'll be surprised how you change.
Yeah. Simple, really, eh?
That's the process right there.
Yeah.
Didn't need a rocket scientist to figure that one out.
The 13th question is, are we making progress in?
Well, you know, when I get people and say, Paito, and then they come from the national, I want to make better decisions. I want to make better choices, but I'm broken, Paito. How can I do that? When someone says it to me, and then I end up telling them what I believe that they should do, you're working on the right stuff.
Yeah.
And they're coming up and go, how can I rob their bank down the road a bit better?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I mean? They really want to make good changes because people, see, when you're in a leading role, you don't give yourself mana. That's what we believe.
Yeah.
People give it to you. So if they give it to you, they're telling you that they trust you for direction, guidance. Hey, so you got to do everything you can to do everything that you can to give them that direction and guidance the best way possible so that they're able to become good members of society and good role models for their families, good sons, good husbands, good brothers, so on.
In the last episode, you talked around that treadmill cycle that people get stuck in.
Conveyor belt.
Yeah, the conveyor belt. Yeah, just going around. As people are getting off that cycle of destruction, do you think as it goes generationally, that each generation you're going to start seeing healthier and healthier people?
Absolutely. I mean, when we talk about people depend on you for guidance and direction, you're giving them a cup to drink.
That's right.
So whatever they're going to drink, they're going to pass it down.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
And so,
That's the philosophy.
yeah, that's the philosophy.
This is the philosophy coming
And so
out.
then is it for you a sense of playing the long game that you're actually not looking for instant wins, but you're looking for deep generational change?
Absolutely.
And you're prepared to take the time to see generational change rather than surface change.
Well, you see, look at the trauma. It's intergenerational trauma. Hey, so absolutely.
Yeah.
Hey,
On that note then, what's the hardest thing you deal with across the board?
well, you know, when you can see further down the road than most folks, and then because you know you've done things that people won't get to do, and and you've seen things that other people won't get to see. They don't need to. So you get to see further down the road, but the only way that they're ever going to see that is if they take step by step by step. But they've got to have faith in you.
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be all jargon talk to them. I could say, blah, 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 and I want you to go and do that, because if you do that, you'll see blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh man, what the hell is this fellow on about?
Yeah.
And they might say to the offsider, did that make sense to you? I have no idea. What do you think we do? Well, let's follow it.
Yeah. So it's always that challenge of leadership is taking people on the journey and not losing them on the journey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a great friend who says a great leader is someone who says, I'm going this way and you can all come with me. You've got to be the one setting that example, but then constantly helping to make a way that other people can follow, that they understand. Within the Mongrel Mob Kingdom, the journey that you're bringing people on, I know it's hard to put a figure around it, because there's the PASH members, there's the wider family, the extended community, and then there's other, Mongrel Mob chapters and other gangs as well that are looking at what you're doing, going, is this working? Starting to see fruit and signs, going, oh, okay, at the start, we thought that maybe Paito was off on his own crazy journey, but now they're seeing fruit. If you were to kind of have your best guess, how many different lives do you think are being drawn in or impacted by the positive change and the sacrifices that you and the team are making to see healing come to the community?
Well, like I said before, look, I have no idea.
You wouldn't be able
No
to.
idea.
It could be thousands, you know, and might be only a handful.
Nah, that's bigger than that. It's a ripple effect. I often think about it, and it's huge. It's huge, eh?
Because I've sat down with Black Power members, had conversations, and they've got, man, I have so much respect for what Paito is doing. I'm seeing what Paito is doing. I've got huge respect. I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah.
You know, and so when I'm connecting as really an outsider, and I'm hearing other people from traditional rival gangs talking about what you're doing, and, oh, we see someone setting an example. They're not looking and seeing a colour, they're seeing the example. And to me, whenever I hear other leaders who are looking to a leader going, oh, I want to emulate, do you have people from outside the Mongrel Mob fraternity coming to you for advice?
Absolutely. Absolutely they do.
Yeah.
You know, when I went through the prisons, I was only a young buck. Believe it or me, once upon a time I used to be a young buck. But when I was in there, I did the same thing there, you know, of bringing it together.
Yeah.
You know, so what they're seeing Paito do is what Paito's always done. He just had the courage to stay with it all the way.
How long have you been on this journey now?
How long's a piece of string?
Since
From
you
the
had,
start by the sound of it, really. Yeah.
yeah, well, you had your turning moment, you know, where you really began to water that seed that God loves you, and you know, what do you want your life to be? How long are we talking now that you've been on this, ploughing that field for?
Well, you know, remember when I take you right back to the beginning,
Yeah.
when I heard the men with green legs
That's
talking about the development and the empowerment of service to the people, seeing the renegades serving the people. I'm still that guy that keeps serving it. The only time I took my finger off the pulse is when I was following the patch members that I had to follow to receive my korowai. But as soon as I got my korowai, and as soon as their fate, they faced their fate and they were out of the way, I was moved to the front. And I've always been there, all the way.
Well, every leader, they say, is called by God anyway. Every leader's been put in position by Him. So it's been a 40-year journey then, eh?
Yeah, it's been
Easy.
a long one. It's been all my life.
We touched on this a little bit in our last episode with you, but as you began to bring the change, quite radical change, and not change that was received with, you know, great applause across the wider gang community. And now you're in a space where you have got a lot of different faces, a lot of different voices looking in, and I understand that you're just doing your own thing and you're just staying focused on that. But what are some of the challenges that you've had to overcome and continue to overcome as you pioneer something new? Because pioneering is always hard work, being the first one to do something. What have been some of the challenges, and then some of the stories along the way where you've actually swayed the hearts and minds of people?
I follow my heart. I just do what my heart is telling me to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it is what it is. You'll get some that will fall off, and some of them do. Like, you know, some of the people within the kingdom, they've said, look, thank you so much. I feel I can take the world on now.
Yeah.
And they go off and they leave their patches behind. And they go off to take on the world all on their own. And, you know, and if they stay out there, well, the society gets some good people that came from the dark places.
Yeah.
But sometimes they come back. They say, oh, you still got, you know, room in the kingdom there for me? Come on.
Yeah.
You know, so, like I said, you know, I just do what I do, brother.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing flash to it, you know, and if people think that they know better or they want to do something else, well, go hard.
Yeah.
So the community aspect, I want to explore this a little bit, because the things that I have found to be probably the richest is the community aspect, the brotherhood, the family aspect of being incredibly tight-knit. Tell me a little bit about the value of this within the gangs, and something like you've often said is gangs don't turn anybody away.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how broken you are, there'll still be a place at the table for you.
Would you turn anybody away? If
No.
they came to you and said, I've got nowhere, nothing.
Well, it just really depends. The majority of the time, no. But there are people that are dark and evil out there. And it's better off to, let them go on their way. So like I said, you just take it in your own stride, brother. It's you got to remember the gangs don't turn anyone away because they came from broken places.
Exactly.
So they know what it's like, to be ostracised from their own families, from the community. Nobody cares a shit about them. That's what they believe and that's what they felt. So when somebody's coming to them, they understand that pain is pain no matter where you are. And the awhi will always be there. But if they come in, they've got to understand that, it's about, doing the best you can to manaki, to embrace, to help each other heal to some capacity on their own, And some will stick around and some won't. And if some of those ones that will move on, well, maybe they'll find someone else that will help them. Or maybe something will happen to them in their life. And then, powers that be.
Yeah. See, I watch them when we've done those trauma I've watched guys change, radically that afternoon, after doing it with them, because they've got to unburden themselves with the stuff that they've shared. That's a powerful thing, but you're giving them the platform to do that.
Well, having Lucky come in with his Kingdom Brotherhood team and having people share their traumas and their addictions in that community space, have you seen that bringing a change and freedom around people?
Absolutely. It installs to our people that there are some good people out there that will walk that journey with you and won't judge you. And do everything that they can to help you, and so when you do have, the brother and his ministry doing that, it just reassures everybody that not everybody out there,
is against you.
Yeah.
If you could have the wider community understand anything about the Mongrel Mob Kingdom, what would you want them to know, and how would you want them interacting within the Mongrel Mob and that cross connection?
Some of the brightest lights come from the darkest parts of the forest. They just may need to understand that there's some good things that go on in those spaces there. If they never had any idea, or it's because they heard it on the radio, or someone had a bad experience, or read it in the paper, the stereotype stuff. Yeah, because that's what media is, really. But, there is some amazing work going on.
There is.
And it's not just Paito doing this work. There are other leaders out there that are doing exactly what I'm doing, but they don't voice it. They don't go, it's not about the, the applause, it's about serving the cause. So really that's my whakairo there, is letting everyone know that there are some bright lights there. And, don't be whakama, don't be shy to come over, and take the chance. If it's a kingdom member, you can probably guarantee that you'll be met with respect. Let's just put it that way. Not disrespecting any other, the nationals and stuff, because there's some good men in there as well that'll do the same, But really, this is a time where a tide needs to be turned. And if there's ever a pinnacle time in those who are in the gang space and in power position, if there's ever a pinnacle time that something great is going to happen while they're sitting in there, this is it. This is it. This is where you'll leave your legacy. Because things, nothing stays the same. Things will always change.
I've got 2 more questions, brother. So first one is, how many people do you think you disciple at the moment, journey with?
Hundreds.
Yeah.
The thing is, what I think people need to understand is that, the kingdom is not here nationally. It's around the world.
Yeah.
So we've got, we've got our families all around the world.
That's massive.
So if I go there with it, thousands.
Yeah.
But, in those spaces around the world, there are good leaders, just like myself.
Awesome.
Yeah. So that's a discipleship thing. I know I love it because it's quite often a question I ask in the churches when I speak in a church, is who here is discipling anybody? And it's very hard to get hands up. And it's one of our key things that we need to be doing is raising others, eh? And my other question is what is it that makes you happy?
To know that what I've done in my lifetime, when it's time for me to give my last breath to my loved ones, that I know I can go into the next world knowing that I've made my mark here and that the family understands what I did and who I did it for, and then they know what the good fight looks like.
Awesome. Well, brother, you got anything else, Jared?
I think that sums it up really well.
I just want to honour you for coming here, for sharing your heart, for doing what you do. I see it, and I see it regularly, and I can say for me and the Kingdom Brothers, and for Jared and his team too, that we just want to honour you and love what you do.
Thank you.
And I know that you're righteous, and everything you say is pono. So God bless you, Atua.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Fantail Studios is a registered charity creating powerful shows through the help of generous givers. To find out more about supporting Mana Atua and helping us bring this incredible film to life, please visit fantailstudios.com.